So the other day, I decided to make one of the worst bow builds in Path of Exile, a full unique Eyeshot Deadeye. Now more recently, I decided that I was sick and tired of dying so much, and so I spent the past week or so fixing up this build because it really sucks being both poor and weak. So in order to increase my farming efficiency, I channeled the cumulative power from all 3 of my brain cells to reconfigure this nightmare of a build to a more T16 friendly setup. Gone are the days where I die multiple times in every map, and gone are the days where I sacrifice all of my life regen for a measly 10% movement speed. It was also the case that Void Fletcher wasn't nearly as great as I hoped it would be, and that Occupying Force wasn't really fantastic either. Luckily, I had a spare quiver lying around that spared me the headache that is otherwise known as crafting, and respeccing Occupying Force to Ricochet didn't require too many brain cells either. Now, the current issue with upgrading my body armor and boots was that I was going to lose a significant amount of spell suppression. And as far as evasion builds go, having less than 100% chance to suppress spells was a guaranteed way to spend a lot of time hugging the ground. And so the best way to cap my suppression was by ensuring that there was suppression on both my body armor and boots, as well as in the Eldritch Implicits on my gloves. The way I crafted this body armor was by spamming Essences of Loathing until I hit T1 Ellie Res. Since I needed cold resistance at the time and had rolled a T1 Fire Res mod, I used Harvest to convert the Fire Res into a cold res modifier. After that, I crafted Suffixes Cannot Be Changed and hit the body armor with a Veiled Chaos Orb to unveil the Avoid Elemental Ailment modifier. Once that was done, I just bench crafted the physical damage conversion modifier so that my Deadeye would be extra tanky. If you take a look at the implicits, you could see that I was just being a little stingy here since I was completely burned out from all this crafting already. But usually I prefer to roll for non-curse aura effect, damage taken recouped as life, or +1 to all maximum resistances in place of the increased curse effect. Now taking a look at the boots, I'll want to start with spamming Essences of Loathing until I hit T1 Ellie Res again. Luckily, this time I hit the lightning res that I wanted, so I was able to move straight into Suffixes Cannot Be Changed and use a Veiled Chaos Orb. I was unlucky the first unveil, so I had to repeat this step in order to get the Onslaught modifier. And with that done, I slapped on the Life modifier and we were ready to roll. Ideally, I would want action speed in the implicits, but hitting movement speed was honestly good enough for me. Now moving on to the gloves, you would want to spam Essences of Zeal here until you hit T1 Ellie Res, but since I was in dire need of Chaos Res, I decided to settle for a T1 Chaos Res instead. The nice part about the gloves is that the prefixes are kinda whatever. Grab whatever you can here, a little life would be good, a little flat Ellie damage would be good too, but the best part is we don't need to use Suffixes Cannot Be Changed. Now what's important for the Eldritch Implicits is that we roll the spell suppression mod here. This is what will bring us from roughly 90-something% spell suppression to just over 100% so that instead of dying multiple times every map, we'll only be dying 1 or 2 times each map. Since I decided to get rid of the Vol's Vision Calm Spirit combo, it made sense for me to replace the helmet as well. And here I use Essences of Envy until I hit T2 Fire Res and T1 Life Regen. The Life Regen probably doesn't do much in the face of T16 degen mechanics, but this is what I was gonna roll with. Although it was super unnecessary, I decided at this point to turn off my brain and hit the helmet with Suffixes Cannot Be Changed and Veiled Chaos to guarantee a life roll. And by the point that I realized that I burned 2 Divines for a life roll lower than what I could normally benchcraft, it was already too late. And since I had an open prefix, I doubled down on the physical conversion modifiers, giving me a grand total of 27% of physical damage from hits taken as elemental damage. Now a small detail you might have noticed for this helmet is that it has a lightning arrow enchant instead of an ice shot enchant, and that's because ice shot is honestly trash compared to lightning arrow at this stage of gear progression. And so I decided to pivot into a Trinity supported lightning arrow setup instead. For this transition, I crafted a triple Ellie damage bow by spamming Essences of Anger, Prefixes Cannot Be Changed, and Veiled Chaos. And with that, that is all the improvements and upgrades I've made so far to an otherwise hot mess of a build. The next items I'll be looking to upgrade will be the rings and the belt, and that should just about finish off the mid-level gear progression of this build. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today.